Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the America Guns and Freedom Podcast with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. As always, this is just an open chats place you can come every day and talk with like-minded individuals about common interests. Don't need to talk to me at all if you don't want to. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves. That's one of the reasons we do this. So there's a spot where you can come and do that every day, build some camaraderie. Some people don't have that in their lives. They don't have people they can talk to about guns. We give them a place every day where they can do it. But while you're here, you might as well ask me questions. So I field questions and topics from anybody who wants to ask me anything. Doesn't have to be gun related. You can ask me whatever you want. I'll do my best to answer it. Now, if you ask me something technical, act to be something technical, and I don't know the answer, pay attention to the live chat. They will. If you ask me, I have experience with something I don't have experience with, someone out there will. So pay attention to the live chat and make some friends while you're at it, maybe. Although stay away from some of those people in there. Some of them people is incorrigible. But I like to start every chat with reading if we got any, reading the names of people who have bought merchandise over the last 24 hours, but I don't think we have any. No, we don't. I read Jeffrey Beeson and Charles Williams yesterday. So that was the day before yesterday they ordered. So yes, we got nothing to read today. So let's, before we move on, I want to let everyone know, though, remind everyone, we are now doing Toy Guns for Tots 2025. So if you want to help out a kid in need this Christmas who wants a toy gun but won't get it because the other charities don't handle toy guns or accept them or distribute them, go over to Toy Guns for Tots over on my website, TYMPpistolproject.com, and donate over there. We take up the slack, and we donate guns for everywhere from Washington, and they make it as far as Alabama, I know. So we take care of kids all over the country that want toy guns. So go over there and donate. If you don't want to just donate, well, wait here. Why am I not showing the website? I got the website up. Let's show the website so people can see what I'm talking about. Here's where you'll go if you go over to TYMPpistolproject.com. The first thing you'll see there is Toy Guns for Tots 2025, the logo, and you'll see the little blurb and a place where you can donate. You can donate any amount you want, but for every $20 you donate, you'll get an entry into the drawings. We're going to be doing multiple prizes. One is going to be the top donor prize, which is going to be a Bond Arms Derringer engraved with the Toy Guns for Tots logo thing. There's going to be a grand prize. Don't know what it's going to be yet. It's either going to be a Henry Lever action or a 930 retrograde shotgun. It's going to be something along those lines. And it'll have two stocks, one the standard stock and then one stock that's custom engraved with the logo to show that you want it from Toy Guns for Tots. So go on over there and donate if you'd like. Also, you can go right down below it here on the page, and you can go over to my website and you can order stuff for yourself to show that you supported Toy Guns for Tots. And there's also some stuff over here like the ornament and the mug that are for you to give to other people. And I'm thinking of doing a t-shirt where it says it on the back too. Should I do a t-shirt where you can give someone a t-shirt with the logo on the front and on the back says, a kid received a toy gun in my name for Christmas, blah, blah, blah. Let me know. But you can go over there. You can buy this stuff. Every one of these items comes with that same $20 donation to Toy Guns for Tots. It really ends up being like $16, but it counts as a $20 donation, which gets you an entry into the drawings. But you get to give a gift to somebody else. They get the joy of knowing a kid got a Merry Christmas because of them, and you get the entry to the drawing. So go over and do that. Or if you want to go over the website, you can just go over and become a patron, a Subscribe Star member, buy regular merchandise, enter into the drawings we do over there sometimes, apply to be a TYMP Triple P beneficiary, nominate a veteran, which we've gotten in contact with Bond Arms. We've got that underway now. So you can do all that over there on the website if you would like. So go on over, help out either the channel or one of the programs we run like Toy Guns for Tots, which runs all this month. With that being said, let's get on with the chat. Let me go see if we've got any emails coming in, any questions, or I should say super chats coming in. Remember, if you do a super chat through YouTube tonight, though, you're entered to win the Toy Guns for Tots little brass coin here. One of the viewers made this with their laser engraver. So it's one of a kind. So if you want to donate $5 through Toy Guns for Tots through the YouTube super chat tonight, and you'll be in the running for that. We're doing it through over there so I can separate it from everything else. Let's go over here, see if we got any questions. Now, we did get some donations to Toy Guns for Tots. So let's read those. We got Andrew Hopkins. He did it twice there. I want to make sure he knows he did it twice because, I want your money, but I don't want it if you did it accidentally. So make sure you donate it twice because it went through twice. Salvador Verga, Dan Posey, Evan James made a nice donation. Edgar Cortez made a generous donation and made a donation to TYM Triple P as well. We got Salvador Verga here, I think might be asking a question because he's paying his tithe to Phil. Nope, he just said, hail Phil, and paid his $2 tithe to Phil. Johnny Mandrick chimed in here. This looks like it might be a question. And he asked, why don't double single action revolvers have a decocker? Well, they do. It's called the trigger, and you just put your finger on the hammer and lower it down. Because here's the thing. When you load a semi-automatic, you're cocking the hammer. So you have to have a way to decock it to get it down. When you load a revolver, you're not cocking the hammer. So the only reason the hammer would come back ever is if you cocked it intentionally when you're going to need it, I guess. If you cock it when you don't need it, you lower it just with your finger. Don't be a pussy. Just lower it with your finger. Or get you a clearing bucket like I got. Remember we used to do the desk pops with the clearing bucket? Get you a clearing bucket and lower it yourself. Or if you're outside, just do it to the ground, unless it's concrete. And then I guess if you can hold the gun perfectly perpendicular, you could boom. And lower it that way. All right, let me get beyond this one question here. But that's the main reason I don't have it, because you don't have to cock the hammer to load the gun like you do with a semi-automatic. At least that's what I would say. Could anybody else think of a different reason? That would be my choice. Officer Tater Hater chimed in, said, sent lots of videos. Izzo's new video is about a Georgia black cop who was made to pay for his meal. I saw that while all the rest of them got free. That seemed like discrimination to me. I sense blue butt hurtism. Yeah. I'm fine with giving cops free food and stuff. I've done it before. I've given cops free stuff in my restaurant before because I like to know they're nearby and they're watching out for us. I don't mind giving them a free meal. I've given free meal to homeless people a lot more often, but still, the money's in the alcohol anyway. So, I don't mind it, but that's kind of racist. And the fact that his buddies would be okay with that doesn't surprise me, actually. John Heasley chimed in and he said, will you make me a purple elf shirt, the Hermes shirt, please? The wanted shirt. Is there not a purple one available? Hold on, let me go over. I'll make it here in a few minutes when we get through the super chats. We only got like a couple more, and then I'll go make it. Paul Bidenbach chimed in. Bidenbach said, "Hail Phil, is there a specific gun from a movie that you would like to own? Has to be a functioning firearm." You mean like the actual one from the movie, or like a model of gun that was used in a movie? Because I would really like one of the auto mags. Remember the one like Brosnan used? I think was it Brosnan used that auto mag? I would like to have that. Either the one that was actually used in the movie or just one like it. But if it was like I could choose any gun that was actually used in a movie, it was the one the guy used. Well, of course, it'd be Dirty Harry's revolver. I mean, who wouldn't want a 29 from that was actually belonged to Dirty Harry? That would be the one I'd choose. But I would like, if it's just like, if I wanted like a type of gun that was used in a movie, not the actual one, but like one I saw in a movie, it would be the auto mag probably. Clinton Barella chimed in and says, How long does it take for 1791 leather holster to break in? My 66 and GP 100 fit fine, but the 686 is really tight. The paddle holster I sent last night is made in Turkey. I thought it was 1791. No, it didn't look like a 1791 to me, but it looked like it was made nicely. A lot of the Turkey holsters come from Turkey on eBay. I'll tell you that. It looked like it was well made. It looked pretty. I'll say that. I think that was the last of the super chats from this section. It is. Let's get over here. Homesteading with solar ginger. Soulless ginger. He's not solar powered. He can't go in the sun. He's a ginger. Solar powered gingers would just mean dead gingers. Because if they had to go out in the sun to be powered, they would burn to a crisp. All you'd see is a bunch of charred spots around where there used to be gingers. He said, for the tots and the fur babies, I can't wait to get my goodies. I'll take that awesome Spartan knife. If you win, the Spartan would be a good choice. I'll tell you that. And the people who donate through YouTube to get the coin will also get an entry into the night drawing. Just so because that's the nightly draw, and I add those together to get enough. Soulless Ginger also said, I'll take that coin, please, and thank you for the tots and the fur babies. Well, right now, I think you're the only person. Well, no, wait, there's one under you. Oh, it's Gun Websites. He said, give me that coin. Also, good evening, everyone. Here, while he's here, I'll send him a link. If anybody wants, if he comes in, anybody can ask him any questions they want to ask him. Let me see. Gmail. It's not our night for it, but I never remember when it's the night. So I'll send it. If he comes in, he comes in. If he's busy, he's busy, but we'll see. He's not under any pressure. Message sent. Okay. Then we also got Edgar Cortez weighing in here. He says, I have shot a 357, but not a Dirty Harry 29. Is the recoil of the 29 much worse than the 357? Oh, yes. Considerably worse. Worse. 44 Magnum is nothing to joke at, to laugh at. It's not anything like a 460 or anything like that, but it's stout. Now, if you really want it to hurt, get yourself a 329, like I got right there, the Scandium and Titanium 44 Magnum. Get yourself one of them. Go out and shoot that about, I don't know, twice. And make sure you bring a rag to wipe away all the tears and possibly blood if you've got fragile skin or bones, because you might have some bones coming through the skin. The thing is abusive. People think that the little 357 Magnum 360 PD I had was abusive, and it is. It hurts. It stings like a motherfucker. But that 329 hurts your soul. All right. G-Web has joined us. So if anybody's got any questions they want to ask G-Webs, make sure to put them in the live chat. What's going on?
Nothing. Figured I'd jump in since it's simply.
That's me. People keep asking, what's new? I'm like, no, nothing. If anything was new, I wouldn't know how to deal with it. I don't like new stuff. I don't like change. Go Shadow said, shouldn't spend this, but what the hell? Yeah, keep your money. You might have to buy a new neck. Micah D said, another coin? Sure, why not? Maybe the Raja 3. Oh, I think he meant another knife. The Raja 3 is a cool knife, but that little blue one is kind of cute. Look how cute that thing is. Look at that little thing.
That's a Mora?
It's a Mora knife, I guess you call them.
Yeah, I like that size a lot. It's so useful. Yeah.
They're weird. I gave away a couple of them already, but that was like, there's only one of these, and it's a weird little, like, it almost reminds me of an egg for some. I think of a Easter egg when I look at it for some reason. Let's see, where are we at? Homesteading with Solar Ginger says, what are your thoughts on LEO trade-ins? Do you think they're replacing military surplus? Also sent email. I saw you sent the email with the picture. This is, I think, the gun he just bought from LEO trade-in. Let me share the picture. I wish there was a quicker way to do this. It always takes me a while to get the picture up.
I saw that was that comment when it came in. That's an interesting take that they're like the modern surplus guns, because surplus guns were all made for, like, well, I think of them as like the ones made for the Cold War. I guess older people think of them as the ones made for World War II. But yeah, there's not like that cycle of war. I don't know, call them relics or like surplus, I guess.
Yeah.
So police guns are probably in a lot of ways, because you get your shotguns, you get pistols for sure. Every once in a while, you get like a slew of revolvers or something. So it's kind of a good analogy or a good like comparison.
It's a good way to get deals, because hell, police revolvers are seldom used. So,
oh yeah, most of the time they just have wear.
But yes, that's what he picked up right here in M&P 40. It's even in a good caliber. He got it for $229. That's a good price, especially since it's hard to find 40 anymore. Andrew Avila said, toy guns for tots, and I'll take G-Web's coin. Wouldn't mind having that Smith & Wesson 1911 that you haven't shot very much. Well, that's also an option. What does anybody... I'll do a poll over on Subscribestar and see what you all think, which one I should give away as the main prize. Edgar Tortes chimed in again, said, so Yank, is 44 Magnum even practical for EDC? Well, yeah, I mean, it's practical, especially if you're worried about bears. Like if, you live somewhere where bears might get you, or, you're just worried about them, period. Like you live even in the city and you're afraid there might be one at the bus stop. Because, I've always thought that there's a problem with Antifa bears. I actually did a video about that at one point in time. And you can't help tell they're bears till it's too late, because they all wear masks. But Antifa bears, you might show up. So you got to be ready. And I don't want to make it seem like 44 Magnum's unshootable. I mean, if you needed it in an emergency situation, you'll shoot it. It'll work amazingly well, and you probably won't feel the pain till things are calmed down. But it is not a comfortable round to shoot, especially not in a lightweight gun like the 329.
It's not the shooting of the gun that's an issue. It's the size, because the gun has to be larger. So the 99.999% of the time you carry a gun around for no reason, just carrying it around in case. It's a big, giant thing to carry around. And whenever you do go to practice or shoot, it's costing you a lot of money and wear and tear on you and the gun. Yeah,
it's not cheap to load a 44 Magnum.
I'm worried about those. Seen those like Tyrannosaurus Rex costumes people wear, and they got like air things so that they puff up and they're like a big balloon. Well, if you're a big giant bear, how are you going to walk into town in one of them giant costumes, right?
Yeah, get one of those. Yeah. Or better yet, they just walk in as a bear. They just act all like, oh, I'm an inflatable. They just wobble like, ooh, I'm inflatable.
Just bend over every once in a while unexpectedly.
Yep. My sister went to the No Kings rally in Portland, and she went as a cow. She was a big inflatable cow. And she had a sign. I was wondering what she's up to, because she called me and asked me, what was our grandpa's rank in the military? And I was like, well, at one point he was a first sergeant, but that didn't stick because he got in a lot of trouble and he got demoted. He's one of the few first sergeants ever demoted back down to master. I think they actually took him down to sergeant first class. But then he went back up to master sergeant. So I told her, well, just to be safe, sergeant first class or master sergeant. And so she was making a sign that says, proud granddaughter of a, master sergeant, Pearl Harbor survivor. So I was like, that's why she was wanting what his rank was. Because that was kind of an out of the blue question to be asked. Homesteading with Soulless Ginger said, AIM Surplus always has good deals on LEO trade-ins. I've seen Smith & Wesson's, Glocks, FN, SIG, and Benelli. Well, yeah, they have because all the police especially the big ones from big states, big police organizations, they don't all use the same gun. So there's different guns out there when they trade in. Lots of Glocks and SIG. And speaking of the SIG P320s, I got contacted today by FN Spring Solutions, where they've done a thing for the SIG Sauer now to make the P320s completely safe. I think they're completely safe anyway, but they've done some changing to make them even better. And they're going to be on the show Friday talk about that. So if anybody wants to see that, make sure you're here Friday. They're going to talk about what they've done to change a couple of mods to change the internals a tiny bit.
Oh, speaking of that, what do you think? Are you talking about the V?
Well, no, you mean the Glock V?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Glock V.
Oh, yeah, I've done some stuff about the Glock V, but
we haven't had a chance to talk about it. Where you fall on that thing?
Where am I falling? I think a lot of people think, Glock sold out, Glock caved to California. I don't think that's true. I think Glock got ahead of the anti-gunners, in my opinion. They actually went, you thought you found a workaround to get us, put out of business because we lose big markets. Well, here we're stepping ahead of you, and now your little law you passed doesn't affect us anymore. That's the way I see it. Because,
I like that take.
Huh?
I like that take. I think they should have called their shots if they were going to do that. But I get you. Yeah. I like that take. I think of it as the new Hillary hole. Like, I don't like it. Yeah,
I mean, it don't matter to me because I don't think it's going to matter much in the far as the effectiveness of the gun. I think they're going to operate the same.
Oh,
it's basically it's that performance trigger they make.
Oh, well, I'm just looking at it as if it's worth conceding or bending over or acknowledging that their concern is valid. Like, none of that. I'm against all of that part of it.
Yeah. I'm against all that. But the problem for Glock is that they actually sell guns in California, and it's such a big market that would be a big financial loss to them to lose that market. And they're already losing market share anyway because they're not the only kid in town anymore.
Yeah, I don't know how this is going to mess because they have to. I mean, for California, if they did this for California, I'm assuming that's what they did it for. Just because they did this doesn't mean California is going to accept it on the roster, and they still got to go through the whole procedure to put it on the roster. We know that they're going to take their other guns off, but their rule is supposed to be whenever one comes on to come off or some shit like that. Like, it's some goofy shit. So are they gonna? Who knows how they're gonna apply this to the? They're not gonna. The gun owners aren't gonna come out ahead. Is all I'm saying. Like, however,
and that's why I think it's so essential right now that and I've said for years, and you've heard me say this many times when people say, "What's the next thing we should go after?" The fucking roster in California. That needs to go away because it takes away the rights from so many people in the state of California. It damages so many gun makers because they can't sell in that market. And how can you say that's not a violation of people's Second Amendment rights to deny them the ability to purchase 90-something% of the guns that are on the market?
Well, and plus it just gets into what do you call that? Like there's no way to balance if it's not safe enough to be on the roster, how can cops have it? If it's not safe enough to be on the roster, how is it safe enough yesterday? If it's not safe enough to be on the roster, how can you sell it used? It just doesn't make any sense. There's no justification for the roster. Like, all the reasons they suggest you need it are obviously invalid. And I agree with you. And this is a time when, we have we'll bitch about this all the time, but they have national level organizations that only know how to do a couple of tricks. So the rallying the troops when we're not being attacked is definitely not one of the tricks they have or one of their agendas they have. So there's no, I would think, I've been saying for a while now, we need to have like sister states, like California. We know the states like California, the East Coast ones, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut, but really Nevada, Colorado, Illinois, but Nevada, Colorado, Washington, and Oregon are all in need, right? Like, you're all getting wailed on, and some of you are getting wailed on harder than others. But then we got all these states that just sit around. And the thing is, 99% of gun owners would be more than happy to do something. And if they ever got attacked, they'd be the first ones to do something, they say, right? And they would. So let's give them something. Like, I think it comes out to about 5 states per, there's about 9 states that are getting wailed on. Mm-hmm. So that's almost 5 states per. If the national level organizations were worth a shit, they would be saying like, hey, you live in Arizona, consider doing XYZ for Massachusetts. And, then you start talking about people who vacation, do business, pay taxes, like decide to buy products from places. We have so much pull as a community that's untapped. And plus, it would just be empowering to like do something positive to show like the rest of the country that like we don't just sit here and gloat that we're better off than the rest of y'all. But when we have a minute to do something, we're all going to help you pull the fucking rope. So now you're not alone in Massachusetts. You got 5 other states of people. And guess what? New Jersey has 5 other states. And if they did that right, it would be kind of thing where, just like pulling rope or tug of war, like nobody has to get a blister. Like you all just kind of barely pull. And if you're doing it right, you're just knocking that other team down because they're a bunch of idiots.
That's what I've said for a long time. I'm like, everybody needs a really strong state organization, and the organizations that are in states, like, let's say you're the Tennessee Gun Owners Association. Well, you don't need to be fighting a lot of anti-gun stuff because it doesn't exist there. So find a state like Colorado and say their fight is our fight too, so that people in that state can fight. Because the way they do it right now, the Nationals, I don't think they want to get that because they're afraid that, we'll lose leverage in this state to this group, or this group will lose leverage to that group, or lose money to that group, or whatever. And they worry about that kind of stuff. But if we did more of that, you wouldn't have as many people. Well, I mean, I guess you'd still have the people that sit here and go, well, until it comes to my state, I ain't worried about it. But
right. But at least that would be a harder position to justify, right? You'd have to be making that decision because guess what? Everybody else in your state is helping California or Colorado, whatever your sister state is. And then, you're the one making the active decision to do nothing while everybody else pitches in. And the thing is, like I say, I think we've seen it in the past when it was loosely accomplished, not like anybody championed it or started it, but once it was over, we all kind of experienced that. So it is possible to be done. But I think the community building aspect of it is awesome. But I just think the results from the other side, when they start to see that, like, gun owners have gotten this like skill set, they have this ability now. They're saying, like, they're not the kind of people that are like, let's double down and really lean into it. They're more of the type to go, let's go fight against something else that doesn't have this massive resistance. We don't have national organizations, and I'm not just talking about the 3-letter ones. Like NRA is doing a great job of coming back because they're winning new seats constantly for like the thing, but it's going to take them a minute to turn that boat. But the other ones, they do their thing or whatever. I would give them a little more shit. There's the ones that you never hear about from like Colorado that only comes up for air once in a while to suck all the money. But I'm talking about the insurance companies that make $24 million a month. That's a shit ton of money. And what are they doing with that? Like, where's the results of that? There's not $24 million worth of lawsuits happening. Like, that just doesn't happen. No,
they've almost never used the policies they pay for. So that money's just all going in somebody's pocket.
Yeah. And they figured out that, like, they can add a couple of things to make it worth it. But they've got their customers now, and their customers don't question it. I'm hoping that we get some organizations that go, hey, you know what? We could, think about the money that they'd make if they actually, or the number of new, what do you call it, like subscribers they would get, whatever you call it, if they were actually doing something to, like, hey, you're from Massachusetts, do you want to sign up to help Oregon, blah blah blah, or blah blah blah. And then it doesn't have to be like this state helps this state, but instead our members each help 3 states, and this is how, and our newsletter empowers that. But instead it's more like, buy our fucking thing about what holster to buy next.
Yeah. And even with the thing, like you said, the insurance group, maybe someone needs to start a competing company that does something like, like how, and these are scams. I'm not saying to be like these scams things, but like Tom's shoes.
Exactly.
You buy 1 pair and we send 2 pairs to Africa, that kind of thing. If we had these that, like, you pay our insurance, you buy our insurance, and every year when every month we don't use the money, that it isn't being used to pay somebody's fight, because the insurance policy is what pays the fight. So every month when you pay the premium on the policy and it wasn't used, everything that didn't pay into the policy is profit. So if you said every month, whatever the profit is, 2/3 of it's going to helping states that are in need, and 1/3 going in our pocket.
Though that would be amazing. And that would be the kind of thing where it's like, hey, you know what? All these companies do squat. They all are like, your lawyers, like in defense, like, don't go after them. They're insured, right? It's that kind of thing. Once the stuff goes down, they're there to help you, but it rarely ever gets to that. So anyway, it's just a massive pile of money just being squandered at this point. And that would be an awesome, like, leverage or like alternative to say, kind of like the employee owned stores. Like, you go in there and that, or like, I have insurance. It's like at the end of the year, they don't make profit. So whatever money they collected that they didn't use, USAA, they just give it back to everybody. I mean, it's like $18 or whatever, but it's better than, think of a million users who all get $18. That's like the company profiting 18 million. Instead, they just throw that all right back, and it's not going to pay. It pays a bill. It's not going to save your life, but it'll pay a bill. And it shows that the company is there for the support of the, what do you call them, like the customers, and not the company brass or whatever.
insurance is mostly a scam, period.
Right. Yeah.
Especially with gun insurance, because, a lot of times they're like, well, we're not going. I've heard this from several people that have said, hey, I know a person who got in trouble and they tried to use the insurance and they told them, well, as long as they're saying you committed a crime, we can't pay till you're cleared on the crime. And then that person ends up not being able to fight and they end up taking a plea deal. And they're like, well, you plea deal to a crime, so you can't benefit from the insurance. And so they hardly ever pay out, if ever. So almost all the money is profit. So it'd be nice if that profit was going somewhere instead of someone buying yachts and properties,
And totally unquestioned. Nobody even thinks about talking about that stuff because, well, I don't know why, but I love the idea.
Because everybody wants to be that guy's friend, the guy who owns the company and has the yacht and the mansions. They want to be at the parties at the yachts and the mansions.
Yeah. They quit making them, but I know what you're saying. But I'm saying like the opportunity is totally there to do that. Because like you say, it's just these are all just, what do they call that? And it's like, every one of them that's come along, you can tell, has just been 8 people in a room going, oh, man, look how much money they're making. Do the math real quick. How many members do they have? What's their cheapest policy? They're making at least that much a month. And then, we can get a couple of people together. Because that's like you say, all you got to do is have enough money in a pile and it covers everything. And then after a while, that pile makes so much insurance or interest. That,
after a while, they self-insure. They no longer have to buy a policy.
Right.
Once you put away, once you have $50 million in the bank, you self-insure.
Yeah, and you just sit there cooking on that insurance, and all that money just comes. I imagine. Anyway,
that's what a lot of rich people do in states like Florida and stuff, where they're like, "Oh, people can't get insurance. Why? How do the rich people afford to buy the properties?" Well, they self-insure, and they use a lot of type of tax write-offs where that money's still theirs, and they're still getting all the capital gains and profits off of it, but because they're using it as a self-insurance policy, they write it off on their taxes also. So rich people do that all the time. They self-insure. Churches do that a lot. They self-insure. School departments, they self-insure, because it's a lot better for them to just make a pile of money that's there if they need it than it is to actually pay a bunch of money to an organization that if they never need it, they don't get that back. When you self-insure, if you never need it, like 50 years from now, if you self-insure your business and you put aside this big chunk of money, if you were paying an insurance company all that time, well, then you don't get any of that back when you go out of business and you never used the policy. They're like, well, good thing you never needed your policy. It's all profit for us. If you self-insure and then you close your business down, well, then you don't need that big pile of money anymore. It goes right back into your pocket. So it's much better to self-insure because you get everything back at the end if you don't use it. You don't get like your medical money back, your medical insurance money back if you don't use like tomorrow, if I go the whole year and I don't, or let's just say I go the whole year and I don't wreck my car, State Farm doesn't go, you didn't wreck your car at all, so we're going to keep 10% of your money as profit for us and give you back 90. It doesn't happen. So it's better to self-insure. So these big companies, if you got enough people together to self-insure, you could be making, if you got enough people together, like say, if you had 10 rich friends and every one of them put in $5 million into a pot to self-insure one of these insurance policies for self-defense, and you tell them, hey, chances of anybody needing this is slim. The ways you can get out of paying is multiple. And, you'll make this many, we'll get this many members. It'll be bringing in this many millions of dollars a month. In 5 months, you'll have made your money back. And then everything after that's profit, even if we do have a case that actually pays out. But most of us don't have 5 rich friends that can do that.
Well, that's why there's 4 or 5 of them still.
Yeah. If I had a bunch of rich friends, I would be doing a lot of these things. But I don't even have friends, much less rich friends. So not going to happen anytime soon for me.
I know people named Rich.
Yeah, I know a couple Riches named Rich. I grew up with a couple of people named Rich. One of my best friends was Rich. Richie. We called him Richie, but it was Richard. But and we called him Richie Rich a lot. We called him because Richie Rich was popular when I was a kid. The comic book.
Oh yeah.
So we called him Richie Rich, which was kind of ironic because he was dirt poor. But just like the rest of us, but we still called him Richie Rich. And he was a little blonde kid, so it fit. Let's see here. Where are we at? Did I get all the questions answered? I think we did. Let me get over here to the live chat. Oh, wait, we got some emails. I showed, I'm not showing that, Christian Carlson. So nobody needs a 38 Super. Let's see here. Got this picture sent in right here. Oliver Banks says, work sucks, but I can't complain too much when I get views like this. French Broad River Valley looking over the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Nice.
It is pretty, but I was telling him that's very similar to, if you look at the view out my back window, this was in winter time, so it's not quite the same, but that view reminds me very much of what it looks like out my back window from my living room, because I overlook the mountains over there and the valleys down here below. This is the Washougal River down here.
Is that your yard? Because I was going to say, you even have a garden down here or something.
Yeah, that's my yard. There's a garden down here, and there's the greenhouse, and then it drops off there's a big steep drop off from my house to this portion where this is the garden and this is the greenhouse. And then there's a big drop off here, and there's a trail right over here to the right side of the greenhouse that goes down that big drop off. And right down there is where my gun range is.
Oh, okay. Now, do you got stairs doing all this, or you just walk on the hill?
It's a hill. You just walk down the hill. And I usually drive the 4-wheeler because I'm too lazy to walk down there. So, yeah, so I usually just take the 4-wheeler. Let's see here. Questions wise, what we got coming in here. I'm gonna work from the bottom up because I can't.
38 Supers in Tucson are like a thing. Like most of the shops have them. So, I've been here long enough that they're not a strange thing. Like
here, they're only around. There's one area of Washington where they sell, and that's because there's a huge Hispanic population there, and there's a lot of cartel activity there too. So there's one area of Washington where all the big dealers will tell you 38 Super sells here, but doesn't sell anywhere else. Joe Shadow said, stop by an estate sale and it's all a white peacock. John Heasley wants me to make that purple shirt. I need to remember that. Let's see here. Sean Bain sent an email here and he said, got his shirt. And it sent me a picture of it. It's the Caliber Effectiveness shirt, which, as you can see here, it shows the difference of self-defense caliber effectiveness. They're not all the same. It shows 9mm. Ow, stop it. 40 Smith & Wesson. Clearly took him out. And then 10mm. He's not even going to identify that body. So he got his shirt, and he said no issues, so that's good. Make this the super secret guy. Oh, someone sent me a picture of this. I had never seen this. It's from Ruger. I didn't know they made one of these. I didn't know they made it in this configuration. It is a little LCP Max, and it's got a little, I guess that's a red dot on it. Look at that little cute little red dot. I guess that's a red dot.
My goodness.
It matches it integrates with the serrations on the slides. Yeah. Matches in. That's kind of cool. That's cute. I think it's cute. I've never seen it before.
I do not like red dots, and I definitely don't like them on subcompacts.
Little tiny guns.
Lasers I'm okay with, but not that.
See, I'm the reverse. I'm not really big on lasers because I can't see them very well at a distance. I like red dots because it solves that problem where I can't focus. I don't have multi-plane focus anymore. I can see kind of at a distance, but up close, I can't see very well. And if I have, it takes me a while to focus for up close. So it's much better to be able to just look through the sight and see beyond and see the little dot. It worked for my eyes better. Was that a person? What was that?
Oh, no, I'm watching another chat over here. Gizzard started his chat up on you.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not disagreeing on all the stuff that a dot can do. It's just that no one ever talks about it jamming up your slide or getting all muddy and being useless and all the reasons that it can be annoying and what's a disadvantage to the gun.
Yeah, so, everybody's got to be aware of that stuff. But
obviously it doesn't happen all the time, but I'm the Murphy's Law, right? Like
it can go wrong.
Murphy's Law.
Well,
yeah, anything else.
I'm kind of like that in one way is like that gun right there. I would never carry because that gun doesn't have a co-witnessing hard sight.
Right.
And I got to have a co-witnessing
sights. Can you even make those?
What?
With real sight, like they don't make those with dovetails. Like those all just have those little built-in
Yeah,
sights.
just, you're not going to have on that little tiny one. You're not going to have a co-witness. So I got to have a co-witness. I got to be able to, because I always think in my head, I'm going to forget to change batteries or something, and then it's not going to work when I need it. That's why I got to still be able to see the regular sights.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here where we're at. Law-abiding citizen, a stupid term because everyone has broken the law, whether it's speeding, underage drinking, DUI, weed, etc. Well, you don't know that. I might be teetotaling perfect. You don't know.
Little kids haven't broke the law yet.
Not yet.
Probably.
I mean, I've been in jail a few times, so I obviously have, but nothing serious, obviously. I don't have any jailhouse tattoos or nothing.
Well, when you say like that person is speeding or that person is happy, that doesn't mean like their entire life they're happy or entire life they're speeding. So when you say law abiding, like at the moment for what we're talking about, they're law abiding. Like law abiding citizen owns a gun. Like, yeah, okay, he's law abiding, but yeah, it doesn't mean he's never, crossed the yellow line or whatever in traffic to just pass somebody who's a jerk or something like that.
Yeah. And most and law abiding, I think, is also incremental, kind of say, like, I'll eat a grape at the grocery store to see if they're good, even though technically I guess that's theft, but I ain't going to murder anybody. There is gray. There's there's shades. So,
no, that's a good point. You eat a grape and it's gross, like soggy, or it's just sour, doesn't fit what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Maybe it's got a seed in or something, and you walk away. I mean, technically that's stealing. Like you could out of the store if they really wanted to. Like somebody could cause a fuss about that. But you also could go, hey, look, I'm shopping, and this is a bunch of things, and they're loose, and I just wanted, because they can vary. I wanted to make sure it's the kind I need for my recipe or whatever.
You have any misdemeanors on your record? Probably. I doubt it now because most misdemeanors don't really stay in most people's records, but and mostly it's traffic stuff, and that goes away after a few years.
So somebody's asking what about this Ruger DXM or whatever. What is that? What's the deal? I don't even know what that is, and there's some controversy about it, I guess.
The Ruger RXM.
Okay, that one. What is that?
Well, it's basically like what we were talking about earlier with the Gen V, but it's still a Gen 3 Glock, and they haven't altered it. And
that's the one they did with Magpul.
Yeah, and every town is suing them, saying, "Hey, Glock has, admitted that it's dangerous," which Glock made no such admission. That's not true. Right. And that's one of the things I was trying to tell people. There has not been a single lawsuit because they're saying, well, Glock has admitted the gun is dangerous and they already proved the gun is dangerous. That's why they can outlaw it. So doesn't Ruger have to change theirs? No one ever proved it's dangerous. The only thing anyone can say is that you can buy a piece that makes it fully automatic. You can make most any gun fully automatic. This one is just easier than most. But there's never been a lawsuit that says you can ban the gun. There's never been anything that's withstood constitutional scrutiny saying you can ban this gun simply because someone can make it illegal, because that could spread to anything. So I don't think Ruger has any obligation to change their gun. And I actually think since they're not selling that gun in California, even to begin with, it doesn't matter to them that they would lose the California market. So they shouldn't change it, because not only will they not lose the California market or the New York market or the Illinois market, even if they pass the same laws they already have up to pass, because, they're on the Bloomberg list of, we passed it here first, now you guys pass it. Even if those pass in those other cities, they don't really sell a lot of that gun in those states anyway, because it's not a big gun for them. But once those places, and once Glock doesn't make a Gen 3 anymore, I think that sales of the RXM might explode in every other state for people who are like, I want my striker fired gun old school, like a Glock Gen 3. So they might be creating a market for those guns in the states where they're not banned, because it wasn't that style of gun is dangerous. So it's just they made it illegal because on a state level, they think it's dangerous. It hasn't withstood any court scrutiny, hasn't withstood any constitutional scrutiny. Glock is just getting ahead of it because they do have that market. They do have the New York market. They do have the Illinois market, all those things. So if the Bloomberg train keeps going and they pass these laws in other states, all their guns are like that. So they lose the ability to sell any of their guns in any of these big markets. Ruger would lose the ability to sell this one gun that they make with somebody else in these markets. So I think it's beneficial to them to keep it the way it is, because then in the other 40 something states, that gun will be very popular. But other people think that they need to change too. And I don't agree.
No, definitely not change. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Glock doing that, but I would definitely be. It would be psyched if we lived in a community where, when every town pointed at a gun for it being an issue, the community just bought so many of those guns that the company was set for like 6 years, just filling out the orders, and that every town would have to just eat it because they just, again, like sold that gun for the next 6 years, like back orders for 6 years, and people are happy. And they, you know how they made the yeet cannon to play around? Like if they make it called like the Every Town Special, and it was, you know, an extra $15, and they were going to give that extra $15 to the NRA or some shit just to piss off every town. And like I say, then everybody just said, you know what, the next $400 I have is going to buy that gun, and I don't care if I don't see it for 4 years. And that would be the kind of community I'd like to live in. I think there was a time we would have done that.
I wish our community had enough money to do that. Right now, we don't have enough money to do that kind of stuff, all that much. Let's see here. I'm trying to do something real quick here, and I'm ignoring save product. I'm trying to make the shirt color that someone wanted, because I cater too much to these people. They don't appreciate it. They're like ungrateful children. Let's see. Am I getting this right? Yes, there we go. I don't got to change anything else. Okay. All right. If you go over to it now, there should be a purple shirt there. Go check and let me know. But yeah, I like if that could happen. Another thing I would like to see happen is these organizations like Everytown, who just go around and file lawsuits knowing that they're probably going to get thrown out because they don't have standing, or get thrown out because it's, you know, found to be this lawsuit has no merit, blah, blah, blah. And I understand why there's protections against people when they file lawsuits, especially against big companies, so that they can't use their $10 million lawyers to ruin people before they can actually win something when they're damaged. But organizations like Everytown that go around and, how many times do you have to be told, yeah, they filed this nuisance lawsuit without merit and, without standing. Yeah, they filed another nuisance lawsuit without merit, without standing, and damage to business, blah, blah. How many times do you get to damage businesses solely for the purpose of damaging business before there's some consequence to that?
Right. Well, I don't even know if there needs to be. I hear what you're saying, because it's frustrating as hell, and that's been their strategy for a while. I just posted a thing every once in a while to just kind of focus back on things. I posted a thing like who all is against us, and I tried to do kind of a timeline of the antis, because it's mostly Bloomberg. It's not only Bloomberg, but a lot of his money turns into a lot of different organizations, and those organizations for a while there, one of their strategies was to change names every 5 minutes, or it seemed like every couple of years. And I suspect because of the way the media was and the way our attention span was or whatever, they didn't have ultimate funds, but they needed to ditch losing campaign and start over. So that's what they did for a number of years. And then they figured out, well, we don't have a losing strategy here with this one. So instead, let's branch off and let's just have, we have some new idea or whatever. Or maybe we are losing, but instead of letting go of that one, let's just put a vice clamp on it and let it sit and then create new ones. And trying to map all that crap out is frustrating, but that's definitely their strategy, right? Is to just hammer something until it don't work no more. Used to be start something else and try again. Now it's just try something else. And like I say, it's just frustrating because the only reason they're able to exploit that is because of the people in the middle that just don't care about guns, and they don't need to. So, that's just a fact of life. We're going to have people that don't care about guns. They can exploit them, but it's also because we don't have a memory. A lot of the problems in the world or issues in the world are because the United States changes our minds every 4 years when the new presidents happen. In other countries, lifetime dictators and shit can do stuff to mess with us, and we can mess with them, so a lot of that kind of shit.
Or not even just dictators, places that have these parliaments that do everything, and they choose the parliament chooses here's our spokesperson.
And it'll just be decades of the same policy, even though it might change people, but whatever, right? That's some of the issues that we have. But in the in our country, this exploitation, I don't think it'll last forever. I really do think that the community will get together or somebody will come along. Because it's really simple to end a lot of this. As soon as there's awareness, like people are not concerned with cars at all. People text in cars. People drive around cars with full tanks of gas. We watch every single action movie. If you sneeze in a car, it'll explode. No one has ever seen a car explode. As soon as we can like equate that to guns, so people go, oh, they're telling us that cars explode. Guns are like cars exploding. That's ridiculous. So once people realize that what they talk about being guns is ridiculous, and we solve some of the suicide shit so that the numbers of suicides are going to actually go down and they don't have that number to surf on, we'll have a different world. But, how we get there is not a clear path. It's not like I'm saying we're going to get that world. I think it is available to us. It is possible because it's really just a couple of small hurdles. It's just that they have this persistent asshole with enough money to keep funding new initiatives, and we have no memory. I guess that's where I started this whole thing.
And he keeps making more money from these things. I mean, the anti-gun business is very prosperous.
Dude, I'm so pissed at that whole stupid bipartisan thing at 2022 just paid him back. It just gave $14 trillion out of the federal money to give for the next however many years to the top 5 states that do the worst heinous shit. And the only people that are going to get paid is him. His organizations are going to all get paid back that $14 trillion. Because, if like Walk the Talk America, who addresses suicide by, teaching doctors what the gun ownership is like and what the gun community is like, so that doctors can have an understanding, so that they're not completely unaware of what it's like to be a gun owner, and addressing suicide in that direction by letting by reducing the barriers to entry as far as people going to the medical field. But that, which is totally nothing to do with guns, like they don't even touch a gun. There's no gun safety. There's no gun handling. There's like the only thing they even talk about theoretically is guns. But it's really just mostly letting doctors know what it's like to be a gun owner, so that doctors don't, or just understand that if you see a shrink, a doctor, a head doctor as a gun owner, you have a concern that your gun rights are going to be taken away. And once doctors understand that, they can treat people more effectively, right? So Walk the Talk America is basically trying to do that for the last 5 years. If they went to these organizations and said, hey, we're doing something to end suicide, which is a major issue with gun deaths, give us some of that handout money, they'd tell them to pound sand. They would not let them even touch that money. It's all going to Bloomberg. It's a massive.
It's not got anything to do with actual change. It doesn't. If gun organizations start doing the things that I wish they would do, they wouldn't get the same catering to them as the Bloombergs and stuff to get. They wouldn't get the same access to public monies. Like if I said, hey, we want to start an organization that goes around and makes sure that everyone knows that if you seek mental health care, if you seek it, that's not anything that's ever going to be used against you. You sought that care. So if you own guns and you actually feel depressed, if you feel this, go get it before they force it on you, because if you get it yourself, you're immune to any type of, aftermath of that, because that's basically the reality. It's only involuntary where you're committed involuntarily that actually hurts against you and your gun rights when it comes to mental health care. So don't let it get to that stage. We want to make it to where gun owners, it's even more important that you go get, regular mental health screenings, where you get regular mental health care, because you don't want that used against you in the future when they have to come and say, oh, you've never sought treatment for your depression and you're not, all this other stuff, and they forcefully commit you so that they can use it against you. If you're seeking care voluntarily, you're exempt from all that stuff. And so many people think it's the other way around. If you go seek care, you're suddenly put on a list.
That's the concern. And that's the kind of thing that Walk Talk America is trying to address by letting doctors know that they can assure people that that is not the case. But I mean, if you don't know that that's a concern, you're just going to be oblivious and you just. But
the problem is, though, most doctors don't want to tell you that because they get on their high horse and they're like, "Oh, we got to do something about guns. So many kids are killed with guns." These fake gang statistics that they use. Yeah. Oh, guns are killing so many people, and I got a lot of doctors in my family, and you can ask them flat out, "Well, what have you seen more people die from in your career? Motorcycle accidents, car accidents, or guns?"
They'll say guns. Yeah.
But they'll almost always say, "Well, more people, of course." cars and motorcycles. Motorcycles are the number one, thing that emergency room doctors hate is motorcycles, but they're more deadly. If you own a gun, what are your chances of dying compared to your chances of dying if you own a motorcycle? Any doctor worth his salt will tell you never own a motorcycle. That's the surest way to end up dead in the emergency room. Then I'm like, well, then why aren't you out every day talking about the evils of motorcycles? Why aren't there moms against motorcycles? Why aren't there all these organizations? Why aren't you forcing this issue? Because if you go out and buy a motorcycle today, you're far more, especially if you're a teenager, you're far more likely to be dead in the emergency room than you are if you just own a gun.
Well, I feel like the motorcycles are used in crime more, because if you're a getaway on a motorcycle, you're going to get away from those cop cars that can't go down alleys and upstairs. I've seen movies. So,
well, I've done that many times myself, run from cops on a motorcycle as a kid, because we didn't have them licensed or anything. We just rode them on the streets, and we ran from the cops a lot. But and yeah, look at these countries like India and all these other places where you see all these where they ride up on motorcycles, mug people, point guns in their faces, and ride off on their motorcycles. It happens all the time. So motorcycles are dangerous. But like I say, doctors know one of the most dangerous things you can do is drive and ride a motorcycle. That's a way to die. Far more dangerous than owning a gun. But they don't go after motorcycles, for one, because there's no money in being anti-motorcycle. And if they did, the motorcycle, sale Honda and Yamaha and everything would start fighting back against them and cause a ruckus.
That's true. Those are not small pocketbooks if they went after those companies. That's a good point.
So they don't even care about that. So to me, it's like, you don't care about lives because you're not going after the thing that takes the most lives, because you wouldn't even get around to guns if you were going after the things that took the most lives and you were trying to build a society where those things were dealt with.
Well, and we all know that would be food. I mean, compared to cars and stuff, it would be food, like healthy diets and exercise.
Overeating and no exercise and stress and all these other things. They don't go after those. They go after guns because it's acceptable to do so, and it's a big money industry. So people will come to them and pay them to do it, to say it. Well,
I think you hit on it. Like, we'll shut up about it. We'll just mind our business and not bring it up and not scorn them, because there's nothing in it for us to do that. So they get no kickback either. So when they pull that shit, like everybody says, "Oh, great job. You show such concern," or whatever. And all of us have to just eat it. Because if we say anything, contrary, then we have to worry about their attitude, reaction, or how they deal with us.
Yeah. And another thing, like we were talking about, with things I'd like to see do, like promote mental health care. I would also like to see the big groups be on the ground more in places where there's issues, like in schools, in things like this, helping to identify kids that are potential risk for school shootings. Because it does, as a psychologist, anything like that, any psychologist worth their merit will tell you, yes, I can walk into a school, spend 2 days there, and probably tell you the 10 kids that are the most likely to have an issue. Because it's not hard. And it's all standard boilerplate.
The kids are probably doing something to say, like, help me, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you can say, these are the kids we need to help. And I'd love to see organizations getting more involved in that. But here's the thing, schools won't let them. Like if the NRA said, hey, we want to come in and start doing where we come in and we just talk to kids, and then we talk with you about like what kids we think might be at most risk for something. They'd be like, nah, we can't have you in here talking about guns. Yeah. So you get a lot of kickback now. But if Bloomberg wanted to come in and it's like, hey, we want to come in and talk to your kids. Well, they'd be like, well, here's a check for $5 million to do it.
Dude, I was listening to NPR, maybe a month ago already. And it was, I don't think we talked about it. I was listening to an interview, and it was somebody, I looked it up because we were talking about another chat. I think it was like the Boston Institute or something or another. And she's from the Violence, Policy, something or another institute. But anyway, she was talking to the NPR interviewer, and her position was that these drills that the kids have to do and have had to do for like decades now for murderers, right, with guns, they call it when they do these drills, that these things are really detrimental to the kids, and how it's very useless because you're informing it. Often the person doing these things, the media instructs the people what to do, where, with what, and it's often a kid from that school that does it.
And he knows where everybody's going to be.
Yeah, so showing, instructing them all on these drills is crazy. And they had a quote from one of the high school kids. It's like, it's ridiculous that you make me plan my own death and then go back to a math test 15 minutes later. And it was awesome because the person on NPR could not, she was just, you could tell she was doing flips on how to react to this person who they qualify as, someone with legit credential or whatever, but giving them this like point of view that she was not accepting. And I'm like, thank goodness, because you're like you say, like the propaganda or whatever against guns there is just crazy.
And it's, if anti-gunners want to do prevention, like we want to come in and do things to prevent bad stuff from happening. They're like, yeah, we can't do it fast enough, and we'll even pay you lots of money to do it. But if pro-gun organizations want to come down and do prevention, like be involved and try to be there and try to prevent bad things from happening by educating kids and stuff, well, then it's indoctrination.
Yeah. Like, oh no, if like the NRA came in to say like, leave guns alone, and here for older kids, like, this is how you disassemble a gun. This is how you never pull the finger on the trigger. That's why in all the movies you see people sticking there. Oh yeah, that's indoctrination. What are you trying to do to our kids?
Yeah. And we had that when we were a kid. We had gun safety in junior high school, and we had hunting safety and stuff that you could take a class in junior high school.
Well, yeah, I remember I think up until maybe 6th grade or something, we'd have cops come in, once a year. A cop would come in and say cop, what it's like to be a cop probably. All I cared about was like at some point they pulled out their gun and let everybody look at their gun. And I'm almost positive they let people look at the gun. I mean, it was empty, obviously, but because I knew what it was, and they were like, "Oh, you know what this is?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is Smith & Wesson revolver. It's pretty nice."
And that was the best part, because when they chose that. And we also used to have the sheriff come in and do gun safety, like, hey, your dad's probably got a gun in the house. What do you do when you see that gun? Blah blah blah. And the little kids, it's always like, leave it alone. If your dad leaves it out accidentally, go tell your mom, that kind of stuff. And if you're older kids, they would give you like the opportunity to take a hunting safety course, because they didn't want kids blowing their brains out when they went out hunting in the woods, or each other's brains out.
And well, half a hunter safety was like, don't walk across the creek because this can knock you over. So here's how you walk across the creek. Or like, if you get stuck somewhere, like, don't be afraid to burn your dollar bills, because it's more important to not die than to have $3 when you they find your body. It's like, just how to live in the cold, how to not be an idiot, or how if you fell out of a tree, like how to deal with it and try to signal for help or something. And then, and then here's some gun stuff. But it was mostly and how you take your guns across the fence, or here's how you show that your gun's unloaded when you're walking up to the camp or something.
Yeah, but you can't do any of that anymore. Before we get out of here, I want to say thank you. We got one more person here donated to the Toy Guns for Tots. Let's see, who was it here? It was Timothy Hufford made a donation over here. So thanks to Timothy Hufford for donating to Toy Guns for Tots. Salvatore Verga also did another super chat here. What did he say? He said, here's another $5 for the tots. Tater tots? I don't know. But let me go over here. I got to do the drawing for the coin real quick before we get out of here. I got to count how many.
It's just easier. You can just give it to me. Just send it over.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got to generate a number between 1 and 9. Oh, excuse me.
I've got a little laser engraver, but it's like the size of a hockey puck. So I don't think you can do a coin. I'm going to try, but I think I'd have to let it sit there for like 2 hours to do a coin. Well,
I think you can get the stuff that you put on it, and it makes whatever the metal, wherever it lasers, turns the metal black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that you can do that. All right, I got to generate a number between 1 and 9. Let me get my random number generator.
I thought you were going to say you put mask on there or something, and then you use gel to eat the metal away or something.
No, it's like it provides like a little layer of carbon or something that the laser actually forces that down into the steel and turns it black.
Oh, very cool.
And the number is 3, and that is Homesteading with Soulless Ginger. That actually is you.
Me? Good.
Yeah. Awesome. So you won the coin.
So what? That's your thing on one side, and then Toys for Tots on the.
Yeah, it's got my side on one thing, and anybody who doesn't believe me, let me show the page. Because I know for this.
I know Homesteading had a couple in there before me.
Yep. Someone's going to say favoritism. Nope. Right there, 1 through 9, 3. So no favoritism involved. I wouldn't do that anyway. I don't like it when people I know win because I'm jealous. This in case I'm not jealous because it's like when I always want to see when someone else buys a new gun. Like when they say, I got a new this, I'm like, well, send me a picture. I want to see it. But then I'm always like, you fucking cunt. I didn't get anything new because I'm very, very petty when it comes to new stuff. Do we got enough things to do a knife drawing tonight? I don't know that we do or we don't, but I'm going to do it anyway and count the, what you call it. This is on behalf of my sponsor, Criterion Barrels, best AR barrels. I don't know who that is, but I mean, I've heard of Criterion Barrels, but I don't know why someone's in here promoting their barrels other than that there's gun people in here, and it does help the Pets and Vets program. So I thank them. Now let me count the numbers for the giveaways over here. How many did I say was over here? 9. So I got to start at 9 over here. And give people entries over here. I'm just giving people entries even for the Toy Guns for Tots tonight. So, Verga, Hopkins, 1, 2, 3, 4.
You got any more of the mouse patches?
Which one? The little, oh yeah, the mouse gun. Yeah, I've got you one. You want one of those?
Well, yeah, I put on the thing on Patreon for a while back anyway. So send me that when you send me the coin.
Okay. Yeah, I'll send you that one when I send the coin. All right. Let me do the drawing here. Generate a random number. And the winner is number 27. That is, I got to count to 27. Evan James. I don't know who that is. I don't recognize that name. But Evan James, you are the knife winner. So send me an email saying knife winner in the subject line and let me know which knife you want and give me your address. Name and address, entire address, just like if you were writing a letter to yourself, give me all of it. That includes zip codes. You got to tell people this. They'll send you the address with no name or
it says like my house in my bed.
I live down from the grocery store. But that's the winner. So thanks everybody for participating. I will see you all again tomorrow. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe until I see you again. Bye-bye, everybody. Please hit that like button and share this video on whatever social media you have. Since this is a restricted channel, you're the only chance we have to overcome YouTube's anti-2A bias and discrimination.